Enough of this gibber and jabber here. We gotta go live. We are live. Grrrr. Greetings, humans. Greetings, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode. Bear here, 29-year veteran of the woods, and today, I tell you what, people, you're out there in the woods, the majestic woods out there, with all the animals and the critters out there. Beautiful place there, but unfortunately it doesn't have Wi-Fi, so Bear has to abscond the Wi-Fi from the neighbors over there, a little Timmy McTimerson. And you know what? Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. So hopefully we've got this strung together with like duct tape and string and everything. So hopefully it will work. But you never know. You never know until you actually try it out. All right, well, enough of Bears complaining and just things going terribly wrong for Bear. Let's go ahead. I tell you what, we actually have a very full episode here of stuff that we're going to be talking about. In fact, I'm actually going to let me 1 second here. Let me bring it up here. I don't have any lights on here, so just pardon Bear here. Oh, for crying out loud, it doesn't work. For crying out loud. One of these days. OBS, I tell you what. Alright, hang on, people. Hang on 1 second. We're gonna get this. We're gonna do it. It is on, right? It is? Or it isn't? I don't know. For crying out loud. Alright, well, once again, this is why it's always helpful to check things out before you get your show started. Otherwise, there we go. He's actually going to do a little bit of talking about Oddity here. I might save that a little bit for the next time here. We actually have plenty to get into, but I did hold on. Let me find it here. I did want to make one mention to it. I forgot to do that in the box open. If you haven't checked it out, go check out the box open there. But one of the things. One of the things that Bear actually noticed here was when they sent it, it actually came in pretty quick here. It came in relatively quick for Bear here. One of the reasons about all that is the first class. So they actually sent that a first class mail. It might have been a little bit more there, but you know what? It got in Bear's claws extra quickly. Yes, it did. So I want to send a shout out there to Indie Dave and also Sweens out there for putting it there in first class. May kind of broom some of the Oddity stuff here for the next time. I want to get a little bit more kind of in depth, kind of a mini review. Unfortunately, sometimes we like to do a kind of a head-to-head. Unfortunately, we didn't have another book coming in. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but very briefly wanted to just mention, let's see, Indie Dave was nice enough to correct Bear. A full-time job, I tell you what, correcting Bear. But actually, one of the prints here was from, let's see, it was a Mr. Matt Houston, rather. Matt Houston out there. Does work on Adventure Time, a number of other things, I suppose. So very cool. And on the other side there, it was let's see, a Miss Sashi out there doing the other one over there on the other side there. So Bear wanted to correct the record, as it were. Also, apparently the what do you call it? Not the sticker. What am I trying to say? Come on, Bear. The pin down there has actually glow in the dark. Bear tried it the other day, wasn't able to work, but I'll have to try it again and see if it will show up glowing in the dark. So, anyways, we might do that. We might do that another time because one of the big things that we actually talk about here is, for crying out loud, Bear. I tell you what, one of these days, Bear, we will do it. What's known in the world is a professional show. Not today. Bear isn't going to do it today, but one of these days. One of these days, we will actually do a professional show. All right, let me get into it here. Starting right off, I tell you what, with the heavy hitters out there. Uncle Lee, speaking of heavy hitters out there, it's P-Money. Good to have P-Money here. Yes, indeed. All right, let's see. Getting right back into it here. More art. Not just art, but more art. Unfortunately, not Archie Bear. Hello, my beloved, wonderful, incredibly patient, that's an understatement right there, Wrecked Planet backers. Yes, indeed. Let me start off by kindly thanking you for your continued support and especially patience out there. I tell you what. I tell you what, indeed. Ethan says, I know the wait has been long, but it will soon pay off for everyone. The book is now 75 pages long. Very interesting. I've done nearly 2 issues worth of work, but I've edited out the Merchantville sequence, and I'm also cutting out the Dark Harvest ending sequence for an extra book that will come with the Second Chance Wrecked Planet campaign, which is planned for the launch the moment this book is completed. I'm not sure if he's saying completed as far as sent off to the printer, or maybe completed as far as in everybody's hands, and then the second chance. Mike, I would hate for them to do a second chance before anyone got a first chance to get their books. I think that would be kind of not a great look here. But speaking of looks here, let's go ahead and check out some great artwork there from EBS there. Actually, we had, I think it was the last update here. This second page over here, you had this CyberFrog. I'm assuming being attacked by one of the Vespas there. Beer wasn't sure whether or not that was like a panel or if it was like a 2-page spread or something. Apparently, it is a half page spread out there. So very cool. Very detailed. Very detailed. Very looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good. Let's see. P-Money says, of course, 2 seconds after I arrive, I hear promises. There's no promise of a professional show. There is no professional show that has been promised ever. One of these days, maybe, but not today. All right, let's see. Continue on. Even after all that, it's still 75 pages long. He goes on. I am working on it as quickly and as hard as I can. I hope you can see how much passion is going into it. Even though there is a lot of pressure, I won't skip on quality. He goes on, let's see. It gives me goosebumps. I love CyberFrog, and I hope you do too. We're almost sold out of our CyberFrog in all caps comics gear, so we decided to make more for the summer and autumn. I've also launched a Indiegogo campaign to take pre-orders for the United States customers only. I'm sorry, people. We'll be taking care of our international friends on eBay as soon as the merch comes in. Free shipping, low price, high quality. We just want you to look great for the rest of 2022. Yes, indeed. Well, Bear doesn't wear pants or anything like that, but the thought is nice. And yes, he goes on, we're making red hoodies with the 4 rules of survival on them. I wonder if they're zip up or if they're just kind of a pullover. You knew we were going to, he says, and gives a link. Pre-orders begin today. That was the other day. We love you. Oh, thank you, Ethan. Can we get a little love in the comment section? It would be nice to see Ribbit, Uncle E. Yes, indeed. Well, Beer also would love some love in the comment section there. But I tell you what, where do we start with this? First off, yes, okay, look, it's late. It's late. We'll just start out with that. We all know that it's late. There's not anything that Bear can do that's going to make it come any quicker. There's no way that we can say, hey, Uncle E, hurry it up, anything like that. I think the last time that we saw something like that happen, basically the very end of the first CyberFrog book kind of got truncated there a little bit. Yes, indeed, Bear was going to the thesaurus on that one. A little bit truncated, a little bit taken down just a little bit. I'm willing to bet that the very end of CyberFrog 1 will actually be the beginning of CyberFrog 2. So that kind of starts off where it's pushing everything towards the second book, which probably explains. Let's see, he says the Merchantville sequence and also the Dark Harvest sequence that he is cutting out. So yeah, once again, Beer would say go ahead and put in those sequences, even if you think that it sounds like he did them and then cut them out. So unless it didn't work or something like that, I would have said just go ahead and leave it in there, even if it might take an extra couple months or something like that. We're already late. I mean, it doesn't really matter so much if it's late or super late or extra late. It's still late, so I would say go ahead and finish with that. Bear's thoughts just kind of on more on the writing or the story side rather than the art. Some great artwork here, nothing to complain about. Oh, let's see. P-Money says, well, on the bright side, with Oddity, it's nice to know at least some of the CyberFrog has been released. Yes, indeed. Actually, we've got, I don't know if you saw it earlier. Let me go back. Let me find it here. One of these days, Beer. One of these days. Yeah, so we were actually talking just very briefly about Oddity. We'll come back to that maybe on Saturday or something like that. Beer had a number of things to get into, but yeah, very nice, very detailed, and yeah, you can actually see CyberFrog there. So there you go. Very cool. All right, let me get that. Where was Beer here? Where was Beer? For crying out loud! Oh, I was doing the campaign updates. That's right. Beer did not lose his thought. Beer did not lose his train of thought, even though P-Money is trying his hardest. Basically, story-wise, it's always a good idea to come up with the ending. You can come up with a great idea. Dinosaurs are brought back to life and are roaming around in a park or something like that. That's a great concept and everything. You come up with the idea. Wouldn't it be great if we did this, that, or whatever? You gotta kind of come up with a ending relatively quickly, so you know your end point. You know where if you're on a vacation, you know where where you're gonna end up. If you're ending up at Disney World or something like that, you know where you're going. You can enjoy the journey along the way, but you've eventually got to end up at a certain point, whether it's a physical location or a story beat. So you really need to come up with your ending relatively quickly. And then sort of your middle, if you want to come up with the third act structure there, sort of your middle act there is, you can always play around with the sort of middle act there, but really want to have the end in mind, especially the beginning as well. You kind of would get your story off pretty well. So as far as Bear, just kind of looking at this from afar, I think maybe there were some issues with the end of CyberFrog 1 that got translated into CyberFrog 2, and then that basically pushed everything that would have normally started on page 1 of CyberFrog 2. It pushed it probably back to page, I don't know, 15, 16, something like that, which pushed everything else out of whack as well. So probably, I forget exactly how long CyberFrog 2 is going to be. I don't recall if it was 75 pages or not, but it seems like he keeps adding pages or moving pages around where it would have been a little bit better of an idea just to come up with the ending, put that in concrete, and then you can always play around with the center portion there. Do you need to add a couple of pages or take a couple of pages out there? You can always do stuff like that. Trying to come up with the thing on the fly, and then you get to the very end and trying to come up with the ending at the last minute or something like that. It works sometimes. Sometimes you let the story kind of tell itself there, but no, it's a really good idea to kind of have the ending. So he talks about, let's see, the Dark Harvest being on the Second Chance book here. Sounds like that was actually going to be part of this book, and he just didn't have the time to finish it up. Well, let me take that back. He had plenty of time to finish it up, but the time got away. Yes, indeed. So, anyways, that's kind of the long and short about CyberFrog here. Once again, still no a concrete plan on when the book will be out, like summer, maybe early fall or something like that. Beer would probably bet winter. I'm just gonna put not really money, maybe some salmon down on early to mid winter is when we're gonna get if we're gonna get CyberFrog 2. It'd be kind of interesting. We kind of put a bet on whether or not Cash Grab or CyberFrog 2 will come out. We know we'll never get Cash Grab, so it'd be kind of interesting. Let's see here. P-Money says, well, on the bright side with Oddity. That Beer already read that. Beer already read that, P-Money. I tell you what, trying to get Beer off his game here. Alright, continuing on with sort of the theme of the show here. Let me get out of that. Do the thing with the thing. With the thing. And then you do the thing. And then where's the thing? There's a thing around here somewhere. There it is. There it goes. I think the theme for the show is late books and what to do about them. So we got another very good-looking books, I would say. All just kind of very, very nice-looking books, but delayed as well here. Delayed as well. So one of the things, one of the books that we're talking about here is FATL, or FATL as you pronounce it. Whatever it is. Clint Stoker, a sweet cast you might know out there. He's got a May update here. First of all, I want to thank you for your patience. We are being thanked for our patience quite a bit these couple of updates here. This project truly could not happen without your support and patience, so I'm grateful, and I know Charlie is too. I wanted to hold off a few more days to give another update, but enough of you asked for one, and I thought I'd give one right now. Actually, where is... Let me show it here. We're talking about it and show it. There we go. Here's some progress, and he shows that. Charlie works in advertising and has a major project on his lap for the past 2 months. He even had to miss Easter with his kids. I tell you what, to make the project happen. With that said, he's working on FATL and not letting the quality slide one bit. We want this book to be its best, and I can assure you that we're doing everything we can to make it a book you will go back to over and over again. And he says, thank you, Clint. Yes, indeed. Let me grab a drink of water here. Here we go. Yes, indeed. So yeah, again, another a very nice, a very finely detailed book here, but for whatever reason, one reason or the other there, it's getting out here just a little bit late here. P-Money says, my wife says, is that our favorite North American talking mammal? I said yes, and she said, say hi for me. Well, hello, Mrs. P-Money. That's good to have you here. And she clarifies, favorite talking mammal that's not a human. Ha 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 ha. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, P-Money. I mean, the bears might not be that far behind. Not that far behind. Let's see. VN says being late is fatal for the indie scene. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yes, indeed. Well, yes. Bear would agree with that just a little because, let's just say you're just Joe Schmo independent comic guy out there. You're part of Comicsgate out there. Maybe you might have been on a show or two or something like that. You got your book. It's doing great work and everything, but some of the old guard might come out and support your book. But some of the newer people coming out, they might take a look at that and say, hey, you know what? It's a unknown artist or an unknown creator out there. I don't know if I want to take a chance on that. And the other thing is you say, well, let's see, I got my CyberFrog book and it still hasn't come in. I've got my, with all due respect to Clint here, I got my FATL book. It hasn't come in. So, hey, I don't know. Maybe it might be a part of the community out there that is making the delays or... I hate to say giving false promises out there, but you say, hey, the book's going to be out by, spring of 2022, and it just doesn't come out. So, I think there's a little bit to that, where some of the bigger campaigns can boost a smaller project like that. Everybody's interested in CyberFrog, so you go on to Ethan's channel and you get a little bit of boost on that. But at the same time, people might say, hey, Uncle E's book is going to be a little bit late, so this book might be late as well. It might be part of the pattern there. So, it lifts all boats, but it also brings boats back down. Let's see. VM says, but the art in Fatal is not fatal. No, it's not. It's Charlie's done some great work here. All the updates that Clint has put out, some good work. It's just, I suppose it's unfortunate that he had advertising work. I suppose you try and work that out beforehand. You never know, something might have came up, better paying project or something like that, and they had to go with that. Or, I think Charlie had some health issues at some point, so maybe that kind of fell into there as well. But no, very much look. We'll go through all these books here, and very much looking forward to all of them. But yeah, once again, including with Oddity here, very nice looking books. But I tell you what, they need to find some way. Probably the way. Let me go back. Let me find CyberFrog here. Find it here. Let me do it here. Oops, not that one. There we go. So he's talking about basically making it 2 issues worth of the book. One of the things maybe that people might consider is basically if CyberFrog is 2 issues worth, maybe just make it the 1 issue. Maybe just make it, let's see, what would that be? Let's just say 40 pages or something like that. That might be doable within a year. Do about 40 pages, put it out. You've got something out where people are reading it, and then go ahead and start working on the second part of it as well. You get the second part done, people can get that, and maybe they can get issues, let's just say 3 and 4 together in one book, where it would be 75, 80 pages long. That might be a way to do it. That might be a way of if you divided it. Oddity kind of had a sort of mid-break act into it, so that might be a way of just identifying. Okay, we've got I don't know, 35, 40 pages done. Let's go ahead and put that out. We might have told everybody, yeah, it's 75 pages, something like that. Go ahead and put out the 40 pages. It's going to look great, and then do it again for the second half of the book, and then once the second half is done, combine them together into one kind of larger issue or something like that. That might work. That might be a better option for some people. Rather than getting a book, you get your book, you read it, you check it out. Oh, it's great and everything. And then you wait a year and a half or 2 years, and then you might get in book 2, and you're like, okay, what happened in book number 1? I gotta go back. I gotta read book number 1 again. You probably forget about some of that stuff. So that might be a way to get around some of that stuff. All right, let's see. Where was Beer? He's around here somewhere. Let's see. We did the fatal stuff. Oh, one of the great ones out here. The great ones out there. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. It is Dragon Guard. Another book. I tell you what. Poor Kev out there. But some great stuff here. He says an art update. Back with another update. Space period. Here's a look at a double-page spread from the book. Also, let me pull that up. Bam! There we go. Look at there. He did not miss Ab Day at all. Does not miss Ab Day one little bit here. I can actually blow this up. Let's blow this up. Nope, not that one. Gosh darn it. One of these days. All right, come on. Get on it. There we go. There we are. There, finally. Oh, yes, very cool. There's the Dragon Guard and his nemesis there. Holy cow! His abs have abs. I tell you what, pretty crazy. Very cool. Very detailed, Kev. Very detailed. All right, let me shrink that back. Oh. Well, Bear reads along here. Let's see. Here's a look at a double-page spread from the book. Also, we're getting into the last 30% of the books on colors. Then we can move to lettering and getting the book to the printers. I'll be posting more art in the next 2 weeks. Asbutt. Oh, for crying out loud. I'll be posting more art in the next 2 weeks. I have no idea what you're talking about here. Hold on, help Bear out here for just a second here, people. Asbutt. I don't know what he's talking about here. I'll be posting more art in the next 2 weeks, but we'll post a singular pic of panels to avoid spoilers. So there you go. Very cool. Very cool indeed. I still have no idea what ass butt is, but there you go. It's okay, Kev. It's all right. Let's see. P Money asks. Let's see. I wonder, should EVS work on some sort of CyberFrog 3 before launching the campaign, or should he launch it before starting the comic? This might get Bear in a little bit of trouble here, P Money. Might get Bear in a little bit of trouble, but we're gonna go with it. I think Uncle E. Bear's opinion here. Bear's just small opinion here. Uncle E should probably concentrate on the book, get the book all done, taken care of, all that fun stuff, and then go into, your toys or your shirts or your hats or stuff like that. Nothing wrong with any of that, but concentrate on the book. Don't lose your concentration trying to do 5 different CyberFrog projects out there, which kind of takes away from where the book's coming from. Again, no issues with coming out with the toys and that sorts of stuff. That's fine. I think he should have done that after the second campaign. What P Money's asking here is, should he start work on it before he even does the first campaign for the third book? Yes. Probably, if Uncle E took Bear's advice here, take about 4 months off. Go ahead and do the toys, the hoodies, all that sort of stuff. Get all that stuff in a way where it can be done without really a whole lot of input on his part. The other thing to kind of think about here is whether or not, let's just say all caps comics here, whether or not Uncle E wants to be I don't know how you would describe it in comics. In movies, it would be the producer or the executive producer, or maybe the showrunner in a show. I don't know, editor maybe. Maybe do something like that, where it's a higher level thing where you're basically just running the company. Maybe do a couple covers or something like that, but just stay in charge of the company, and maybe this might sound sacrilegious here, but maybe let somebody else. Hey, Sweens here does a great job. Maybe let somebody else do the CyberFrog books. Maybe just do a cover or something like that. In that way, he can kind of concentrate on the whole sort of overview. But probably not going to do that. So I probably would say take 2, 3, 4 months off. Get everything cleared out. Make sure that it's going to be a smooth process for number 3. Come up with your writing and all that sort of stuff. Get all that stuff locked in. And then announce that you're going to do CyberFrog 3, and then get the campaign going. At least a page, at least a cover or something like that. I think at least they did. I know they did a cover. I don't know if they did any pages for the opening of the set. I think they did a couple pages there, but oh gosh, it's been so long. It's been so long the bear can remember. Yes, indeed. All right. Wise words from a bear. I don't know about that. But there we go. All right. Let's see. Where was bear here? I'm not losing my train of thought here. I swear. But let's see. Did we do Dragon Guard? Yes, we did Dragon Guard. We're going on to, as soon as he can find it here. Not that one. One of these days. And I don't want to, where you've got a sort of theme for the show here of books that are being late. I hate to throw Brian into some of that. It is late. His book is a little bit late here. He also had some health issues as well, so try to throw Brian a little bit of a bone here. I don't want to compare too much to, say, Dragon Guard or CyberFrog or something like that. Brian does a really good job, and he gets his stuff out relatively quickly, but yeah, had an issue with that. So it is late, but I didn't want to say that. Boy, I tell you what, Gunship ThunderPunch is just super late. How dare he or anything like that. Let's see, he goes on. Update, new art, and digital edition clarification. And he says, hey, ThunderPunch crew. Hey, Brian. The other day I was looking through pages and I realized I'm way closer to being done than I even thought. Well, there we go. I also got some art from Siege. Hashtag under siege. Well, at least you're getting art. Beer is still waiting for his art. This will be one of the guest artist prints. Let's check it out here. There we go. If you're not following Siege on Twitter, Bear doesn't have Twitter. You can find her stuff at the Tea Time Drone. Yes, indeed. There you go. Nice stuff there. I'm not sure if this character was that busty, but Bear will allow it. Bear will allow it. I'm not sure what's going on with her hand there, though. I think maybe it wasn't fully colored or something like that. It looks a little. I know we're not supposed to be looking at hands here. CG is more of the foot audience out there, but yeah, it looks slightly off, and I think she'll finish that up here. Let's see. The next thing I need to finalize is how to draw robots tutorial. Send that to Mike Miller, please. That includes in this book the next up on the agenda. That's next up on the agenda, rather. And the Synthwave album will be wrapping up also. Geez, there's a lot of moving parts to this. And it goes on, the digital edition. When I launched the book, I forgot to make it clear that the digital edition of book number 1 is also included. I remember getting questions early on about it, and I realized I forgot to state that explicitly. As new backers are coming on while the book is in demand. Oh, that's great. While the book is in demand, I need to say that, yet again, yes, everyone gets the digital editions of the book. Oh, and Robert Atkins sent me over layouts of his cover, so we should be wrapping that up soon. Okay, another update coming in a couple weeks. Make sure your shipping addresses are up to date. And he gives us a nice couple of, a couple of pages there. So I'm not sure if, what was her name? Nova, Miss Nova there is as busty as Siege intends, but that's okay. We'll allow it. We will allow that. Yes, indeed. Let's see. VM says, I think that pencil pages so perfect like should be just leveled to black and not inked. Interesting. Interesting thought. We'll let Siege know Busty is Bear approved. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, a little bit of artistic license there. That's fine. That is fine with Bear. Yes, indeed. All right, let me do the thing with the thing and the thing, because I tell you what, people. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. I know we've been talking about. I'll get off this. There we go. The late books out there, but that's okay. That's all right. We will move right along. Let's see. VM says Siege has a dedicated section in her Discord to post boobs. There we go. Well, Beer, it's 2022. Beer cannot judge that. Beer is not a biologist, so he just couldn't tell. Jimmy Cricket, how dare you, sir? How dare you almost miss another beer stream? I tell you what, we do this every Wednesday and Saturday. Sometimes Beer's internet doesn't work for him, but you know what? That's the price you have when you live in the woods. Yes, indeed. All right, let's actually get right on into it here, because very important stuff. We were actually talking about the sort of disinformation board that they had the other what was that? A couple weeks back with Nina, our good friend Nina here. Well, unfortunately, it has they've actually taken Bear's advice. Who knew that they could take Bear's advice, and they've decided to completely scrap the idea. So let's go ahead and get right on into it here. If Bear can find it here. 1 second here. And there we go. From our... Oops, nope, not that one. From our good friends here at the Washington Post here. Let me pull it up here. There we go. The Washington Post. Yes, indeed. This is how the Biden administration, the branded administration, rather, let right wing, one of these days, attacks derail its disinformation efforts. That's a hell of a headline. That's a hell of a headline. They let attacks derail their disinformation efforts. So they had efforts for disinformation, but they were derailed by people telling the truth. I think that is a very interesting headline there. By the way, the author here, Taylor Lorenz, interesting character in and of herself. There, essentially goes around doxing people. So, hi Taylor, come on down to the woods. Come on down to the woods, and we'll have a nice chat. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Jiminy says, don't say nude too many times, Pierre, or YouTube will freeze your stream yet again. Yes, that was a 6 hour long live stream there. That was quite interesting. If you can call this stream with Wixmum, I can call Siege a he. Yes, indeed. Well, there you go. There you go. Yes, indeed. So anyways, Taylor Lorenz, basically a giant doxer out there. So this is kind of a you always have the sort of chef's kiss as far as some of the stuff that comes out there. So there's Nina, right there working as in the press room at of Vladimir Zelensky's campaign headquarters in 2019, and in Kiev, Ukraine. Oh, that's that guy. I tell you what. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't that guy get rid of a bunch of opposing political parties? I tell you what, Nina's just gonna fit right on in. Nina's just gonna fit right on in. Let's see, it goes on the mind. Let's see, Jiminy says a disinformation governance board that can be derailed by so-called disinformation was clearly of no use to anyone. Well, yes, indeed. Well, let's see what this completely biased article. Let's go ahead and say it right now. This is going to be completely biased, but let's go ahead and find out. You kind of find out. Sometimes we do the deadline stuff. Kind of a sort of industry trade paper to kind of figure out what's going on, kind of inside the world of the studio. Kind of Washington Post, and especially what they're talking about here, is kind of in the sort of a DC realm of what's going on. So kind of the inside baseball. On the morning of April 27th, the Department of Homeland Security announced the creation of the first and hopefully last Disinformation Governance Board, with a stated goal to, quote, coordinate, countering misinformation related to Homeland Security. We never found it. We'll go on to that in just a minute, but we never found anything. We actually read their press statement. They had a press statement that basically said that coyotes were a problem with people coming across the border, and what was it? Superstorm Sandy. Some of those people 10, 12 years ago might not have gotten their FEMA check at that point. So that was it. That was basically all they had to do with Homeland Security. The Brandon administration tapped Nina J as a well-known figure in the field of fighting disinformation and extremism as the board's executive director. In naming the 33-year-old to run the newly created board, the administration chose someone with extensive experience in the field of disinformation. By the way, if you have extensive experience in the disinformation field, doesn't that make you a liar? Doesn't that kind of, put a star on that? Which has emerged as an urgent and important issue. The author of the books How to Be a Woman Online and How to Lose the Information War. Well, she did write the book on that. Her career also featured stints at multiple nonpartisan think tanks and nonprofits, including work that focused on strengthening democratic institutions within the small community of disinformation researchers. Her work was well regarded. By whom? By whom? Please, give me one thing that she did. Please, one. Not the what was it? The Raggedy Ann play that she was doing? No, it wasn't Raggedy Ann. What was it? Oh gosh, I forget. Some stupid play out there. But within hours of the news of her appointment, Miss J was thrust into the spotlight by the very forces she dedicated her career to combating. Oh, how dare they! The board itself and DHS received criticism, how dare they, for both its somewhat ominous name and scant details of its specific mission. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said, quote, it could have done a better job of communicating what it is and what it isn't. Mr. Secretary, your disinformation board had one job and one job only, and that was communicating to the people what it is and what it isn't. You had one job to do and you failed completely. But Nina was on the receiving end of the harshest attacks, with her role mischaracterized as she became a primary target on the right-wing internet. I didn't know there was a right-wing internet. I guess you take the fork off to the right instead of the left there when you're logging on. She has been subject to an unrelenting barrage of our harassment and abuse, while unchecked misrepresentations rather of her work continue to go viral. Well, I don't know. Bear cannot claim anybody else, but just for Bears, let's see. Bear went back and looked at the press release there from Homeland Security, where they talked about all the great stuff that they were doing, including combating coyotes and something about FEMA back in Superstorm Sandy 15 years ago, whatever it was. That was it. That was it. And we also went to Miss Nina's. What was it? It wasn't her website. I think it was. What was it? What was the racist president there? Woodrow Wilson Institute went directly to the source there. So I don't know about abuse or unchecked misrepresentations when you're just reading their words for themselves there. Yes, indeed. And now, just 3 weeks after its announcement, I tell you what, lasted just a little bit longer than CNN Plus there. After its announcement, the Disinformation Governance Board is being paused. It needs to be exercised, completely removed, burned away, ground into dust, the dust salted, and a sign put out front there that said, never again. And if anybody has any ideas, you just pause them right in the face there because you just don't need to be doing that. It was paused according to multiple employees at DHS, capping a back and forth week of decisions that changed during the course of reporting on this story. Oh my goodness. On Monday, DHS decided to shut down the board according to multiple people with knowledge of this situation. Sources say, good time. By Tuesday morning, Nina had drafted a resignation letter in response to the board's dissolution. Well, if the board's not there, you really don't have anything there to do, Nina. Really nothing. Nothing at all. Let's see. Let's see. P-Money says, hello, Cricket. Where are your shows? Where are your shows? Where are your shows? Let's see. Expert in lying. Isn't that practically all politicians? Yes, indeed. Let's see. So the disinformation board isn't happening. So does that mean the disinformation board is itself disinformation? Mal. It is malinformation. Bear will say it is malinformation. All right. There we go. But Tuesday night, Jankowicz was pulled into an urgent call with DHS officials who gave her the choice to stay on, even as the department's work was being put on hold because of the backlash it faced. What, are you gonna clean bathrooms? What are you gonna? Can you go get me some coffee, Nina? Please. What are you gonna do? I tell you what, government. Working groups within DHS focused on dis, and malinformation have been suspended. Not terrible. The board could still be shut down pending a review from the Homeland Security Advisory Council. Come on! Advisory Council. On Wednesday morning, Jankowicz officially resigned from her role within the department. Nina J. has been subjected to unjustified and vile personal attacks and physical threats. A DHS spokesperson told the Post, in congressional hearings and in media interviews, the secretary has repeatedly defended her as eminently qualified and underscored the importance of the department's disinformation work. Yes, that very important to have disinformation work. And he will continue to do so. By the way, vile personal attacks. Miss Nina, you did write the book on women on the internet. Yes, you did. You did. You wrote that is the reason for your expertise. That's number one. Number two, I tell you what, the secretary here, who Bear can assume is a man is out there defending the woman out there. How dare he? Why did he not position her for success? How dare you, sir? How dare you? Nina has not spoken publicly about her position since the day it was announced. Nina's experience is a prime example of how the right-wing internet apparatus operates. We're far right. Let's see, it went from right-wing to far right. Within a sentence, it went from right-wing to far right-wing. Where is the boundaries on that? Is there a sort of dividing line between right wing and far right wing? I don't. Bear can tell you. You could have. Hell, there's differences in socialism out there. You could have your Trotskyites out there. You could have your Menshkovits out there. You could have your Bolsheviks out there. There's a pretty clear delineation between your Trotskyites and your Bolsheviks out there. The Bolsheviks want to just basically destroy everything, and the Trotskyites, more peaceful protesting rather. So Bear could put a clear line between there. Where the hell is the line in the disinformation board between right wing and far right wing? Bear would like to know. Bear would like to be a far right wing influencer. Yes, indeed. Where far-right influencers attempt to identify a target, present a narrative, and then repeat mischaracterizations across social media and websites with the aim of discrediting and attacking anyone who seeks to challenge them. Well, I tell you what. What was her name? Miss Lawrence. Miss Lawrence, one of these days, if you're not... If the whole working at the Post here doesn't work out, you could be a projectionist, because holy cow, that's a lot of projection there. This is basically a let's see, identify a target, present the narrative, repeat, attack. That is basically the Alinskyite tactics right there. Saul Alinsky 101 right there. So that just kind of stinks for you, I guess, doesn't it? Those familiar with the board's inner workings, including DHS employees and Capitol Hill staffers, along with experts in disinformation, sources say, Mrs. Nino was set up to fail, much like our vice president, was set up to fail by an administration that was unsure of its messaging and unprepared to counteract a coordinated online campaign against her. I tell you what. Just hours after Nina tweeted about her new job, far-right influencer Jack Posebic, how do you pronounce, posted tweets accusing the Brandon administration of creating, quote, a ministry of truth. Whatever the hell his name is. Jack's 1.7 million followers quickly sprung into action by the end of the day. The ones that weren't banned or shadow banned out there on Twitter. By the end of the day, there were at least 53,235 posts on Twitter mentioning the disinformation government. Would you just, for 2 minutes, just get off of the internet for 2 seconds? I tell you what, Bear has seen crack addicts with more self-control than some of the Twitter addicts out there. You don't need to, just go on to Twitter all the dang time. I tell you what. According to a report by Advanced Democracy, a nonpartisan. So you didn't even go. You just went to. I bet you Advanced Democracy is a far left organization, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that conducts public interest research. In the days following, that number skyrocketed. Oh my God. The board was created to study best practices in combating the harmful effects of disinformation and help DHS counter viral lies and the propaganda that could threaten domestic security. And once again, Bear says, such as what? Such as what? Because we actually went to their press release. It talked about coyotes. It talked about FEMA from Superstorm Sandy 10 years ago. And it had, a third one there that was just a word salad that didn't really mean anything. You couldn't even, the only example that they could provide was just say no to the coyotes out there. That was it. And I don't know how that threatens domestic. You don't want people pouring across the border, but really all you gotta do is finish the dang wall. That's all you gotta do. And just Quit inviting people in. It should be pretty easy. Threatening domestic security. I have not heard one single time when they could point to one single thing that had the Department of Homeland Security that says, hey, you know what, if somebody misstates something online, it threatens domestic security. I don't know where that came from. Still trying to find that out. Unlike the Ministry of Truth in George Orwell's 1984 that became a derogatory comparison point, neither the board nor Jankowicz had any power or ability to declare what is true or false, or compel, oh, this gets interesting, or compel internet providers, social media platforms, or public schools to take action against certain types of speech. In fact, that is the case. In fact, the board itself had no power or authority to make any operational decisions. No, they couldn't make any operational decisions. They took, quote, best practices and went to, let's just put it out there, Facebook, Google, Twitter, all your social media companies out there and says, hey, you really better follow these best practices. So no, they didn't. The Ministry of Truth, quote unquote, didn't have any operational decisions. They made all the other companies out there do that. There used to be something that was called. It started with an F out there. I think it ended in ashism or something like that. I think that was what it was called. The board's purpose has been grossly mischaracterized. It would not police speech. No, that's the company's job. Quite the opposite. Its focus is to ensure that freedom of speech is protected. Whenever Bear sees quite the opposite, Bear knows that you're lying, DHS spokesperson. Couldn't even name the spokesperson. Sources say. Early tweets shaped the narrative, and Nina was positioned as the primary target. Well, she was the head of the board. I tell you what. Republican lawmakers echoes framing and amplified it to their audiences. U.S. Senate hopeful and Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt and Representative Andrew S. Clyde of Georgia both posted similar tweets to Jack. Oh my gosh. Former Congressman Tulsi Gabbard also posted a video repeating Jack's statement. Actually, Bear met Miss Gabbard one time. That'll be a story for another day. The weeks following the announcement, approximately 70% of Fox News' one-hour segments mentioned either Nina or the board. There you go. All right, we don't need that. Let's see. As this online campaign played out, DHS and the Brandon administration, had struggled to counter the repeated attacks. The weekend after her hiring was announced, Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas attempted to clarify the board's mission and defend Jankowicz's credentials. He did a round of TV news interviews and testified about the board during a House and Senate committee hearings. A forceful defense of Nina was noticeably absent online, where the attacks against her were concentrated. A White House press secretary, I don't think she's there anymore, debunked false claims about the board during 2 news briefings and touted Jankowicz as, quote, an expert on online disinformation, which means she's a liar. That just, for crying out loud. But it had little effect on the growing campaign against her. And these smears leveled by bad faith right-wing, not far right, it's gotta be far right-wing. Come on. Extreme far right-wing actors against a deeply qualified expert and against efforts to better combat human smuggling and domestic terrorism are disgusting. Well, we talked about the coyotes. That was one of their points. I'm not sure how that has to do with domestic security, but okay, but there was literally nothing about domestic terrorism. Literally nothing. Go back to your own press release. As she endured the attacks, Nina told herself to stay silent. After attempting to defend herself on Twitter on April 27th, she was told, I'm sure by a man, to not issue any further public statements, according to multiple people close to her, sources say. Democratic lawmakers, legislative staff, and other administration employees who sought to defend Nina were caught flat-footed. Really? Administration officials did not brief the relevant congressional staff and committee ahead of the board's launch. Hey, everybody, we're going to launch a Ministry of Truth. Oh, okay, all right. And members, of Congress who had expressed interest in disinformation, I tell you what, weren't giving a detailed explanation of how it would operate. Well, let's see, you come out and you say, hey, you know what, I'm not sure if those vaccines that people are getting 4, 5, 6 times for the Wu flu, I'm not sure if those are super effective out there. I don't know. And then you come and you get your channel demonetized. That's how it would work. That's how it would work. Let's see, because the Disinformation Governance Board basically tells everybody what's true and what's not. A fact sheet, quote-unquote fact sheet, released by DHS on May 2nd, which we read, did nothing to quell the outrage that had been building on the internet. We read that. We went through that. We talked all about that. You didn't have anything in there about any of that stuff. Coyotes. That's about it. Nor did it clarify much of what the board would actually be doing. Well, they would be going out and going against disinformation, I suppose. DHS staffers have also grown frustrated. Oh, well, that's just terrible. Bear's heart is with the DHS staffers. With the department's suspension of interdepartmental working groups focused on dis, and malinformation. Some officials said that it was an overreaction that gave too much credence to bad faith actors. Well, Bear is a bad actor, I will say that. A 15-year veteran, Bear is a 29-year veteran. A veteran of the department who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to comment publicly, sources say, called the DHS response to the controversy, quote, mind-boggling, and says, I've never seen the department react like this before. Well, I gotta give credit to the DHS. Just need to go much further there. So kind of a long article here. I'm not going to get completely on into it here, but we'll go to the very end here. We're going to need another Nina down the road. So I'm assuming it's the same DHS staffer who speaks on condition of anonymity because he's not at liberty to comment, even though he's commenting right here. And anyone who takes that position is going to be vulnerable to disinformation campaign or attacks. So they're just waiting for the heat to cool down. Probably as a trial balloon. They probably put up the trial balloon, blew up in their faces, and said, "Oh well, we're going to go back. We're not going to. None of this ever happened. None of this ever happened." So there you go. There you go, people. That's actually how we go about doing it here. We show in their own words how completely screwed up it is, and Miss Lorenz, you're more than welcome to come down to the woods and try and dox Bear. Good luck with that. You got to find the bear with the alternate comics cap on him. Yes, indeed. Let's see. P-Money, with a number of comments here, says, let's see. Sources say, well, that makes it completely reliable. Not like having actual names to those sources would make them more credible. Yes, indeed. There should be a new motto at Twitter. The place with less self-control than crack addicts. Yes, indeed. So the board is the softer side of 1984. Yes, indeed. DHS makes me think of those bookies going to people who owe them money, politely saying, we think paying the money you owe us would be the safest option for you. Yes, indeed. It would be a shame if something bad would happen to your store. Yes, it would. Yes, good. All right, well, going a little bit long here, so we'll just kind of do a couple just kind of quick hits. Maybe kind of come back to it on Saturday here. This is kind of a long article here, but you know what? A sort of told you so moment. A told you so moment out there. We'll get to another one here in just a second, but very briefly here, we were talking about deadline out there. Doctor Strange falls 67% in weekend number 2. Everybody went out to go see it, and apparently had a whole bunch of word of mouth, bad word of mouth out there, and kind of fell off there just a little bit. A complete collapse. So there's that. Not going to get too much into the article there, but yeah, there you go. There you go. Also very interesting in the world out there. McDonald's is leaving Russia. Yes, it is. It apparently temporarily shut down 800 restaurants, and then finally it's going to close up shop. He says, the CEO says, we have a commitment to our global community and must remain steadfast in our values and our commitment to our values that we can no longer keep the arches sitting there in Russia. That's too bad. I'm sure it press release coming to be very shortly here is oh, we're going to be moving out of China as well. I think, and probably Saudi Arabia. I mean, you have values, McDonald's. You do have values, and you got to stand up for that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right, I tell you what, people. One of the things I tell you what, you come here for the comics. You might stay for, the McDonald's arches leaving Russia. But the thing that you stay here for, the thing that you keep coming back here for, is, of course, Beer's I told you so crypto moment here. I tell you what, people. I tell you what. So we were actually talking about the other week here. Oh, Rick here in the Terra USD. Not going to go completely into all these sorts of stuff here, but essentially it was a digital coin out there that was tied to supposedly tied to the U.S. dollar. So if you had one token coin, whatever the hell, it was worth $1. So basically a 1-to-1. Unfortunately, it went down in price about 95% or so. Actually, I've got it right here. Hold on. Got it right here. The old Luna kind of just completely collapsed there. So people are jumping out of windows there. Good old Rick here. He's gonna come up with another do we call it scam? Another scam out there. So be aware. Be aware of Rick out there. Yes, indeed. He's going to leave the troubled Terra blockchain and get rid of the failed stablecoin. He's going to revamp it. Revamp it, people. It's going to work this time. I promise you. I promise you, people. Come on, man. Actually, a very good one here. I'm not going to get into it, but if you just kind of want a sort of basic kind of background to it, Net Future had a good one. It's called Web3. Web3 is just an expensive peer-to-peer. Talking about P2P, so peer-to-peer network. Just basically kind of goes into what is Web 3.0 industry. We've talked about some of that stuff in the past. Basically, the entire thing is centralized there, so the idea of making it decentralized just didn't work out. So, anyways, a very interesting article if you just want to kind of read kind of 10,000 foot overview of some of that stuff. But I tell you what, people, Bear's got to bask in just a little bit of glory here, a little bit of told you so moments here with the mayor of Miami was trying to make Miami sort of the Bitcoin capital of the world. They were going to come out with what was called Miami Coin. Miami Coin. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Doing great, doing fine until about a month ago, and then its price dropped 95%. So, if your entire city is based on a Miami Coin crypto and then it drops 95%, probably not a good idea. This is a really long article. Up there is not going to get into any of it here today, but just a little bit of told you so. Yes, indeed. Let's see. They had 5.25 million in the coffers just on February 6th. It was a historic moment. A historic moment. It's even going to replace municipal taxes. How you got to keep the rubes down somehow. They're not going to get rid of taxes, but I tell you what, all this sort of utopian sort of mindset out there of people, talking about it's going to be. Gotta be revolutionary. It's gonna change the world, and then it changed your world when it went down 95%. Unfortunately, people lost everything. It's going to empower citizens with negative 95%. 95%. P-Bay says, not Miami Coin. No! I'm sorry, people. Bear had all his salmon in Miami Coin and Terra and just kind of crap. Much like Amber Heard, just crap the bed out there. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we're not going to get into too much of that. Just want to have a little bit of I told you show out there. I told you so. Yes, indeed. All right, let me get back. Let me get back to it because nope, not that. Crying out loud. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, you know what? Wow, we've actually been on a little bit over an hour here, and Bear has hardly dropped a frame. That's great. That's great. Finally, I tell you what, Bear was trying to get online earlier, and it was not working. Didn't think this thing was gonna work out. And then all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, there goes the Wi-Fi. So I'm glad it worked out. Glad it worked out for everybody here. All right. Well, you know what? People. All of this talk about cryptocurrency, all this talk about, I'm talking a little bit about Oddity here. Yeah, we might do a sort of, let me get to it here, kind of a mini review, as it were, of Oddity here. Wanted to kind of get back into it. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed Oddity. Really great artwork out there. It took a little bit long to get to Bear, but really enjoyed what he had here. So some good stuff there. All right, we were talking about Oddity. We were talking about all the campaigns and campaigns updates. Being late, I tell you what. Not so much Gunship ThunderPunch out there, but definitely Dragon Guard. FATL to a certain extent. For sure, CyberFrog. So hopefully some good information out there for some of the artists or campaigns out there. All right, well, you know what, people? All that stuff is made. It's made Beer hungry. So he's gonna head back. Take care, P-Money. He's gonna head back into the woods. So until next time, people. Grrrrr.